probably, and then things are hard,
You can't wear them out. They get a pain, they're gonna wear them all 180 days.
Well, they say they're comfortable, but I'm like, damn, Hills, she got a pair, I mean, man, she was like,
They ain't been broke in.
that's like Converse, she loves Converse, now I cannot stand Converse anymore. She was like, comfortable, how can I be comfortable?
You haven't had this improved, have you?
Well, 95% of it's what the state says.
Yeah.
But I actually haven't, I'll have to smize. Look at it. Cause sure, that's not even.
She's gonna bleed all over it, buddy.
Yeah, I'll just tell her what it says.
It is 7:01, we do have a quorum present. We will, open with a prayer here. Father God, we thank you for today and the things that you've richly blessed us with. We thank you for the time that we have to, spend time on school and help us to keep in mind that, these kids are our first priority. Dear God, pray that you help us to make wise decisions and consider all possibilities in making those decisions. Dear God, pray that you watch over us, keep us safe, and forgive us because we do fall short of your glory with our sins. In Christ's sweet name that we pray. Amen. Is there anyone signed for the public forum?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Cardinal Spotlight.
Well, this month we wanted to recognize our FFA kids and things that they've been doing this summer with their conferences and leadership events, but, this week's also Ag Teacher, Conference Week, and Miss Hallett's gone, and most of our FFA kids are going to church camp, so, we will recognize them in word, cause they are not here to represent.
Superintendent's report.
First up on there is our property insurance. I think that's it's just informational showing you that our insurance is again going up, not as much as it has previously. But still going up a bit for our property insurance. I think our school health insurance also going up, 12%. Just necessary expenses that are going up to increase next year. I think the year before last, did it jump up like 70,000 or something?
Last year it was like 45, it was a big jump.
So.
This year it'll be going, if we do the wind and hail buy down, it'll go from 206,000 to 217, so it's a lot less than last year.
Yeah, so 11,000, and we do the wind and hail just because that's our, our biggest weather threats.
Is it not in yours either,
What?
the budget update?
No.
I wonder if
Did I
it
send it
skipped
to you?
it. Yes, I have it, I had it printed.
Our budget update, it's right on budget. I mean, I think we're at 91%, maybe 92, just thinking off the top of my head. Yeah, we're right now we're at 91.86%, and at this time last year we were at 91.74. So we're just right on track with, where we have been, where we're supposed to be. As far as board meeting dates, we'll have to have 2 next month. So we'll have to, it's for the tax rate and the budget. It has to be I think 10 days apart. So we're looking at the 11th and the 25th.
No limit for the regular meeting?
Yes. And we'll have to have the, I think, tax rate posted for 10 days.
So we'll have the 11th and the 25th, but not the 18th?
Right.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Bridget, Cheryl?
I'm good,
And she did. Well, she nominated on that 18th.
I mean, for now.
No.
Okay,
Yes.
Yes.
So that's it.
75K. Property insurance as a whole though only went up 3%.
Yeah. It was a whole lot more than last year. I think insurance is, especially property insurance, I think they're hurting, I think they've overextended. And it's like,
I know at camp, we went out for new property insurance and we had everything from a quote from 13,000 all the way up to 77,000. Yeah. So
That's a big deal.
it is a huge jump. All right, principal report.
Okay. School supplies, they are here. Foundation has paid for that. It is sitting on the stage, so we're gonna get that sorted here in the next couple of days. Of students, if when they show up, they just show up. They'll need a backpack, lunchbox, and pre-K kinder will need a knapsack. Other than that, we've got everything else for them. And we've put that out to parents, so they are very pleased with that. A lot of them are going on there and helping teachers. They'll do like an Amazon buy kit or, an online. A lot of them are just taking their money and doing that to help the teachers, so. But I know the foundation gave 300 for each classroom teacher too, so it's gonna. And then they'll also, the teachers will get school supplies as well, a box of, here's your stuff to get started, so. It's gonna be, we're gonna start out better than we ever have. I was not at the last meeting, I was at my principal's conference, but, I talked with Yonder, that's the ones who have the pouches. Talked to them today again, they are working on getting those in the mail to us. So we'll talk about our cell phone policy as well. When a kid shows up at 7:30, they'll put that in the pouch, it'll lock, and then they'll carry that with them all day. That'll be cell phone, smartwatches, AirPods, or headphones. So they'll be able to keep that all day. At the end of the day, we're working on getting a box that automatically unlocks on a time, and they'll put a magnet to it and it'll open automatically. So we are working on getting all that logistically to work. But I think it's gonna be good for our kids, it's gonna be good for our staff, it's gonna be easier to implement it. The first 2 weeks is gonna be difficult, cause it's gonna be different, but I think it's gonna be, once we get them trained, I think it's gonna be okay. But those are on the way, each kid will have their own, they'll be assigned to them. So we used some money from DAEP that we didn't use last year to pay for that, so. Didn't cost us, but it didn't cost us outside of our budget, was kind of what we had. All staff is hired. Hired Samantha Sanchez for pre-K aid, and then everything else is filled. In-service will start August 4th for our staff. Meet the teacher is August 11th. That'll be 5 to 7 p.m., so it'll be before the board meeting. First day of school is August 13th. It's a Wednesday. And then enrollment looks to be, of the kids that we revoked their transfer with new ones coming in, currently I think we're right at 258, which is about 3 more than where we started last year. It's about 8 more than where we ended the year. And we could be 265 the first day of school, and we could be 250 the first day of school, but 258 is the projection right now. I believe that's all I have for the principal's report.
Athletic report.
Not a whole lot going on this month. Summer workouts, when they don't get hurt. Girls are playing basketball here and there. Boys are playing football here and there, 6-on-6. And just getting ready for tour. Day starts in 2 weeks on the 4th. And cross country usually starts either, given where it's school started so early, it usually starts about the first week of school now instead of 2 days. And so just getting ready for that. Got about projected 26 to 28 boys coming to play football. Gosh, what did he say? Cross country? Did he say number? I don't think he said that.
I hadn't heard that.
And so just getting ready for things to start.
26 and 28, like high school?
No, 26 to 28, somewhere in there. We're not sure.
Just high school?
Just high school. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. But
It's good though.
yeah, our junior class and our freshman classes are really big.
Operations report.
I'll read you what Jerry sent. He's at church camps this week. All the painting in the school is done. We'll have all the buses and vehicles completed by the end of this week. Thank you to Joe Taylor for helping us get the old school mowed. He sent one of his small tractors. And Mike said it wasn't a small tractor. They're in the middle of remodeling the bathrooms and the concession stand at the stadium. We do still have a leak in the gym area. Parsons is on the schedule to come back out to assess. They have a maintenance truck. It's a 2019 F-250 with 45,000 miles. That was purchased with that approval, I guess, back in May. We've taken delivery of the Transit, and it's already been on a few trips. I think the coaches took it the first time. Y'all the first ones to take it?
We were the maiden boys.
Yeah, it's
great.
Just strong for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Way awesome.
It's the best vehicle maybe I've ever traveled in
It's
here.
it's definitely better than the white bus we had.
Yeah.
Like it's way better.
Good. So that's all for operations.
Okay. Discussion, 5A will be discussion of the student handbook, 25-26 student handbook.
So handbook, I got this, I think Thursday, so 90% of this in here, the state sends us what the model is. I got it Thursday, so that's why y'all didn't get it any earlier. But it's not for action, it's just for discussion. Two things I want you to look at. Grading policy, and my page numbers are incorrect. Grading policy at the bottom, it's page 29, class rank, highest ranking student. Added a few little things in there, things that we were already doing or needed to do. Such as it will not be capped, we'll add the 10 points, which it was not written, but it needed to be, so we just went ahead and wrote it in there to clear it up. When we figure class rank, it didn't say in there, or it said after 5th, 6 weeks, but it didn't say anything about dual credit. We added dual credit will be counted, so it'll be after WTC posts their official grades is when we'll figure it. And nothing will come out until I sit down and check it, double check it. So, might have another staff member that doesn't have a kid involved, that knows the formulas, can just put eyes on it as well. So before that, any of that goes out, we'll check that. I believe that's all I changed on it. To try to clarify and clear things up. I put the example in there of the added 10 points, what that would look like. So. The other part is dress code. It was what was here before me and Mr. Ellaby got here. We were never given any direction of changing it. I've had direction to change it, so I took those recommendations. Let's see if I can find it.
39.
39. 39 and 40. If y'all wanna go through and read that, you don't have to right now. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know, we can adjust that. Biggest thing on dress codes is what the community standard is. And every community is different, that's why the state leaves it up to local. So, but you don't have to, if there's something you get home and you look at it and say, I don't want that, or we need to add this, you know, shoot me an email, come by and see me, we can get that kinda edited and changed and get a gist of where we need it to be. So on cell phones, you know, the state's come out and said no cell phones during instructional time. But they've left the consequences up to us. On page 41, it has all the legal jargon, and then it says at 7:30 to 3:30 they cannot be on them. If they do get a phone taken up, AirPods, smartwatch, they go to 3 days of ISS, and the parent or guardian must pick up the cell phone. It used to have the $15 added in there. I didn't think that was, the main thing is that they don't do it again, and the $15 wasn't deterring them. Used to, when phones were $10, that $15 meant something. Now, when a phone's $600, $15 doesn't change. So, we took that out, and a parent or guardian must pick up the cell phone. So, if they get a second offense, then we add a day and they go to 4 days of ISS, and when they're in ISS, they can't do athletics, they can't play, they can't do anything like that. So, it'll take somebody to get their phone taken up or get a burner taken up or picked up, and you'll be sitting over there and can't participate in anything. So it'll take a few kids to learn, but then it'll be done. If they damage or lose that pouch, to replace that will be $40. So.
Questions, comments, further discussion? We'll move along to the 25-26 employee handbook.
Again, this is mostly a TASB produced document. You'll see highlights in there are really a lot of the edits that get updated every year. So there's not a whole lot of changes in the employee handbook. Mostly names, dates, things like that. What we did add, we kind of talked about it at a previous meeting, an employee dress and grooming policy. I pulled up ours online, and it's one sentence long. Says an employee's dress and grooming should be clean, neat, in a manner appropriate for his or her assignments. So I reached out to a lot of area schools and said, hey, what does your employee dress code look like? And they're like, well, we don't have one. Why don't you send us yours when you get it? So, I kind of took a lot of different examples and combined it into this employee dress and grooming standard that's obviously more than one sentence long. And it's not really much of anything that we're not already doing, but it just provides more guidance than a one sentence, neat, clean, and manner appropriate for position. So generally the exceptions to the general guidelines are, if you're, you know, on an athletic field teaching PE, if you're in the ag shop, CTE, things that are determined by what you do during the day, custodial maintenance, transportation. But everything else is generally, you know, more, what do I say, more restrictive, but, you know, definitely identifiable as a professional above the student dress code. So this is the main addition to the employee handbook.
That's good call.
That makes it more enforceable.
Yes. And we've been doing that, but I think it's been right.
I just handed Mr. Merriman a note regarding, the employee handbook calls out leggings, and they need to have a shirt down to mid-thigh. The same thing needs to be said in our student handbook as well.
This is,
I don't think it does, but it's what we've done,
yeah,
but we should go ahead.
It's like biker shorts and all that too, right?
Anything tight.
basically we want body parts covered, yeah. I tell the girls, like, you don't wanna see me in that. I don't wanna see you in that.
Fair enough. Further discussion, questions, comments on the employee handbook? Any questions, comments, or discussion from the employees that are here?
Still can't wear shorts to class.
That's not new.
Okay. 25-26 athletic handbook.
Kind of the same thing, not much changes, just really dates. Open to change, open to suggestions. Worked out really well. The only change we made last year was under, one moment, please. It was the quitting and dismissal. And that's on the second to last page. The only thing that we had added the previous year was the dismissal. We just had quitting on there, and the kids were like, I didn't quit, they kicked me off the team. And coaches were like, well, you quit. No, you kicked me off. And so it became a technical loophole. And so the only thing we really changed last year again was adding dismissal to that. Didn't have any really issues last year. There's a couple times we had to enforce some rules and some disciplinary actions. But other than that, no real issues based off of what was written.
Again, questions, comments, further discussion?
So on the quitting, that's just for that one calendar year, right?
Correct.
So it's not for the next
Correct.
year coming up. They don't have to run 15 miles before they. So like if somebody quits basketball last season, they wanna play basketball this season coming up.
Then they would have to be reinstated, they would need to run that. They can't just say, oh, I quit now, because they're still in our athletic program. You can't just quit and just, we'll welcome you back.
For the next year?
I thought it was a sport, like if you quit basketball, you couldn't play baseball. I thought that's how it used to be.
That's how it's been, but
Yeah, but now it's,
I think that the way it reads, this is the next sport. So by definition, this is the next sport they play.
so if they
not
quit basketball, they have to do this before they play baseball or football.
Correct.
Okay.
They get a grace period, like,
Right. So I think it's a 1 week grace period, and it's, hey, you want to come out and play, you hate it, and you decide you want to quit, no problem. Also, there's a grace period that we might need to add in there, that a kid's gonna get mad, they're gonna have a bad day, and they're gonna walk off that field and they're gonna quit, or walk up that court, they're gonna quit. Again, we usually have what's a 24, what we call a 24-hour grace period. Hey, you had a bad day, heck, I had a bad day, right? And, let's talk it, let's figure it out, and we usually bring them back. Now they have to, do a little running for misconditioning or whatever,
That
but
definitely needs to be added.
yes, I'll do that.
Then coach, tell me from have we had before, like when a kid does that, we contact parents and let them in the loop so we can all sit and talk?
Day of, oh yeah, I've gone to houses, yeah,
I think that's what Hopper had.
yeah.
Cool, yeah.
Further questions, comments, discussion? Budget workshop? Is that Marcy or is that Mr.
I
Evans?
don't think we're gonna tag team.
It's not. Okay. It's not you.
Could you guys see this one if I turned it on, Coach?
It's really small.
Okay, I'll just leave it out. So
So they can get a flash water.
So this document here is 3 documents. These are the last 3 years of school finance. So basically, school funding is almost entirely student enrollment. You know, you get money per kid, and that's weighted depending on what program they're in. So if you got a pregnant kid, you get 0.2 funding for that kid. If you got a special ed student, you get 1.5 funding. If you got a kid in ag, culinary, they're weighted higher than just a regular student. So our seats and seats depends on, it shows how much money we get. So this first page is 23-24. You notice on line 57, I'll scroll down to these guys. That is how much state aid we get, $166,000. That's how much we get from the state. And why we don't get very much from the state is because we're property wealthy. So we essentially keep more of our tax revenue from local taxes. So line 66 there is our tax revenue, $3.25 million. So this is 23-24. If you look at the very bottom line, 71, that's our recapture payment. $900,000 for 23-24. 24-25, next line, same setup. You know, we get a little bit more money from the state, $180,000. Our recapture payment was $1.3 million. Basically, we only get to keep the money that the state says we can keep. We don't get to keep all our money. And there's no way to say, all right, we're not paying you. Because the state TA, they'll get their money. This year, it's all still subjective, because, you know, this is a fluid document because our enrollment changes. You know, if we lose a kid, we lose some money. If we gain a kid, we gain some money. If a kid goes from one CTE program to regular, then we lose money. Mr. Merriman does a good job of making sure all of our kids are in CTE, which is career technology, which is Coach Gibson's class, Miss Gibson's class, Miss Howe's class. Because when they're in CTE, we get extra 1.15% of the basic allotment. So this year, got a state aid of $145,000. This projects property values to decrease, which we won't know for about 4 more days. But it's showing, now this is very tentative, so
What's that?
it's showing our recapture payment is $200,000. But, you know, like don't bet on that.
I'm taking pictures, I'm putting it on Facebook right now.
Marcy said.
No, we don't have certified values yet, so let's say that.
Marcy said, we're rich now.
When does it become official,
Just
Mr.
a
Elby?
big fancy guess, basically.
When is that locked in, like, does it become official?
Never.
Yes.
Never.
We
Like a
just
year later.
finalized, 23-24. That made me pay another $965 recapture.
Yeah, so it's about 2
After
years
they finish all
behind.
their
Right.
calculations.
Just like everything else.
We didn't get enough, so we're gonna send you another bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent me 2 more.
Good.
after that year was closed for us, they decided, I mean, their calculations go in the next year. And so they will still bill you for a prior year when they finish all their calculations.
So our main revenue source is kids,
Organize that.
and our main expenditure is instruction, you know, teachers.
Construction job, get some more money. Here, owe me some more.
Do you have any questions about this year-to-year comparison? Like I said, it changes almost daily. And not a whole lot, but I mean, it all depends on your enrollment.
Well, when you look on that last page, it's comparing each of the years in those last 3 columns, and you can, I mean, especially the recapture amount is swung pretty far.
So this next sheet that Marcy handed out is our 199 fund. If you flip it over, that first page is really the important part. This is the framework for this year's budget expenditures. Now, once it all gets done and finalized, you'll get this broken down. But these are the main breakdowns per function. Like when I said, you know, our biggest expenditure is instruction, that's where teacher salaries are, right there. So about 80% of our budget salaries, Marcy?
Yes, I mean, this isn't all of our salary, cause we've got salary mixed in all of
Right.
these, but that's the big bulk.
Yeah, so you have salaries also in 23, 41.
If you look on, I attached a detail to behind the 199, if you look on that second page of that detail, you can see the payroll cost for each of the functions. If you look on, it's 3 of 4, I kinda thought that, I've never put this one in here, I found this report and I thought it was kinda handy. It'll show, it breaks it up between the functions, and then across here are the, like payroll, contracted services, supplies. But it shows you this year, the original budget, and the next year recommended, and the difference. So under payroll, you can really see, like, that's how much extra payroll is in this, each of these functions because of the raises. This has the new raise information, if y'all approve that, I wanted to have it so y'all could see it.
Questions, comments, complaints? items of observation to share with others? Okay. Alright, so, moving along to, item 6, action items. Approval of the board minutes. This is listed as one, so one approval will take care of all 3 of the meetings that we had.
I'll make a motion approval. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the board minutes as written. Any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Next item would be to approve payment of bills and investment report.
I'll make a motion approval.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second to approve the payment of bills and investment report. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Alright, next up is to consider and take possible action on policy update EFB local, which concerns library materials.
This first one is an update, because we have our policy review in August. I had to do a questionnaire for our policy consultant. This was a policy that came up that she just said we needed to change, because one of the questions was, do you have a school library advisory council? And we don't have a school library advisory council, so, she said, this is the policy we need to make our library policy reflective of what we're doing, as well as, like all the new legislation on, library book selection. So this policy is the TASB policy update recommendation. And it's just how we review library books, how we procure them, how they're accessed, how if there's any questions, a review process.
So we'll have somebody review it.
Yeah, so if there's a challenge, I mean, this explains the steps too. You know, a lot of bigger districts have a lot of, this has been a hot topic in a lot of bigger districts, the library materials. But this is just a way to be able to respond to any, library related, issues if and when they come about.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll say.
Is that Joe?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve the EFB local library materials policy. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? And next, to be considered and take possible action on policy update, EFB local student missions, homeschool participation.
So in this policy, it's blue and underlined, what you're voting on. It's about homeschool participation. A student enrolled in a private school, including a homeschool, shall not be eligible for concurrent enrollment in the district, nor participation in curricular or extracurricular activities.
Did we have any homeschool?
I think there's been homeschool students in the district, but none that have participated in anything extracurricular.
Never asked. Nobody ever asked?
No, that's my knowledge.
I think the only one that ever really entertained the idea was, John McCaney's oldest daughter.
Yeah.
She just graduated though, I believe. But all their kids now come to school here, so. But that's the only ones that have shown interest that are homeschooled.
But all the other kids come to school.
Yes.
They just start.
All 7 of them.
Seven.
I don't know. There's a bunch.
There's a bunch.
They're good kids, so.
Yeah.
But we have no one requesting
No, no one's,
access
no
to our
one,
extracurricular.
no one has asked me, Coach, we're homeschooled, can we come play? The only thing about the homeschool I've been asked is other coaches saying, what are y'all voting?
That'd be a good recruiting method.
That's what it turned into.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it turns into.
I noticed
Right.
that our neighbors to the south have allowed that with the expectation of increasing their count.
Colorado City.
Yes,
I think they have a pretty large homeschool population.
they do. They do.
I don't know how do they enforce like rules and no pass, no play?
I don't know if that's been figured out yet. That's my concern.
Yeah.
Well, with parents in it.
Accountability.
You haven't played today.
How do you hold kids to the same accountability standard academically? That's
Cause they don't even
Rules
have
up
to
that
take
you go.
STAR test.
right.
I mean, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You don't come here and
Sorry, not
told
sorry.
Mr. Allen, Snyder's head football coach come from Lovington, New Mexico,
Mhm.
and New Mexico lets
Barney's going to shade
Mhm.
last year.
I mean, the whole staff.
He didn't want to, he don't
He
even
said
work.
He
they
did.
usually don't last
Yeah.
because they
He
can't
said he would enjoy
stand
baseball.
the rigor of athletics.
He said, I'm not willing to
He
shade.
said, if you wanna play, just come to school here.
Huh?
Like, if you wanna come to play, enroll in school here.
Well, and I think it breaks up the team morale.
Yeah.
If you have people who aren't at school with them 24/7 and you know.
You don't know if that kid's asleep at home while you're going to class. I mean,
Well,
not that they are, but you don't know that.
Sleep
If we, I mean, how many kids do we lose then? How many kids go, oh, I can play sports and stay at home?
Mm-hmm.
I think you,
Oh, yeah.
I think you lose more than a handful.
Because
I mean,
you
I'm
get,
not
I roll in
homeschooling.
two schools.
you get 1,500 per kid
Never stay in.
per sport, but you
on
lose
your
if they sit quit.
Just
You
stay
lose
with
$6,500,
You
$6,000.
play 6 man this week and 11 man that week.
Like,
John, you mentioned John McCain, he played 11 minutes, and then he come back early.
Mr. Ellerby, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not against homeschooling anyway, it's just, right now it's accountability. How do you hold homeschool kids to the same accountability as, and I don't think there's enough clear guidance on that yet. Just like you said, no pass, no play, we don't know how that's gonna look, how it's gonna be enforced. And I think some homeschools do it right, but in my experience, a lot of homeschools aren't as rigorous as, a regular school. So you're holding kids to different academic standards, and to me, extracurricular is extracurricular. If you gotta be involved in curricular to do the extra, so that's just
You can put that on a t-shirt.
my thought.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mr. Merriman, what are your thoughts?
I agree.
Okay.
It just, if we were a big district and we had a lot of problems, I could see them saying, hey, I don't want my kid in this, I want him to homeschool, but we're real similar to a homeschool. We're real small, we're gonna take care of you. Just, come on, we'll take care of you.
The one thing that I see is that if we're gonna allow homeschoolers to come in, yes, they're students, but they're students to their homeschool, they're not students to Hermleigh.
Right.
Therefore, our policies don't fully apply to those kids. And our athletic code of conduct has trouble applying to those kids. And so we cannot hold those kids to the same standard that we hold our own kids to that are enrolled in school.
I agree 100%.
So.
And
the way
that's coming from a homeschool parent.
Yes, yes. And there was a time that my oldest son did wanna play baseball.
We want you up here.
And I know you wanted him up here, and he would have had fun playing baseball, but it's just exactly like Rody said. He didn't wanna stop work to go play baseball.
Sure.
And the other issue was beards were not allowed then, and he wasn't about to shave.
Yeah.
So, if you can't comply with all the rules that are set forth, don't apply. And you're right. I mean, we did homeschool him. We pushed him really hard.
And a lot of kids, I'm not naive, a lot of kids come to school for extracurricular.
Oh, yeah.
They come to school to play football.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're telling kids now you don't have to come to school to play football. I think it's just sending mixed
I've told
messages.
coaches and people left and right, especially a lot of our kids, they come because they wanna be with their friends. They want what's the word I'm looking for?
Camaraderie.
They want the constructive criticism, they want the construction through the day, and then they wanna be here, and they wanna play sports, and they wanna go to ag trips. And I think it's part of it, I think it's all a bundle deal.
And I think too, like homeschool has become really popular. And they have actually homeschool to where they can go play
Sure.
athletics.
We played them some.
Right, so they do have the chance to do athletics for homeschool and compete as homeschool students. So,
Alright, so our item here is to consider and take possible action on the policy update, student missions, homeschool participation. And it's already written into our policy that we do not allow that. But we still need to approve the update for all the other things that are in that same policy.
It's saying that you don't go to school or you don't play.
Right.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second to accept the student admissions homeschool participation policy as written. Is there any further discussion?
That includes FFA and all that, right?
Right.
Right.
Anything extracurricular.
Now, like, if they want to show, they can go through 4H.
Right.
But not through FFA.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
This next policy is just an add-on to that previous policy. It basically refers somebody that's looking at this policy to the FD local about homeschool participation. So this was about extracurricular absences. So the policy update for this one is just what's there in blue that refers to the previous policy just passed.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
A second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the policy as written on student activities. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. All right, consider and take possible action on policy update FNCE, local student personal communication devices.
This policy is to implement the new legislation for student cell phones, just to add it to our policy.
I'll make a motion
Also,
to student personal communication devices.
also,
Joe and John, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? All right, consider and take possible action on 25-26 salary schedules.
All right, salary schedules are approved every year. There's quite a bit of changes for this year because of the new legislation. So basically, teachers, and this is one y'all seen a few times, but teachers with 3 and 4 years of service get an additional $4,000. Teachers above year 4 get an extra $8,000. So those were added on top of the percentage we are paying, which is this column D. So column D that is how much we're already paying over base. It's between 6 and 7%. So that new legislation is on top of that. But also the state salary schedule increased. So here's the new state minimum in column E, which it went up about $300. So if you just look at line 5, the new state minimum, or line 10, new state minimum was $39,230. The old state minimum was $38,880. So taking the percentage increase above state minimum would put that teacher at $41,215. Add in the $8,000 per the legislation, that would put that teacher at $49,215. So, counselor pay scale is also based on our teacher pay scale. So that $8,000, we've applied that there too. There was also money added to our basic allotment to give everybody a raise. So what we did is, I'll just pull up teacher's aide, for example. I essentially moved everybody up 2 steps. So if just look at teacher's aide here, step 0 is at 1231. That was, last year that would have been step 3. So everybody essentially gets a 2-year step increase. And we added steps on top of what we were paying, to get to 24 and 25. What was happening with our step increases, they were kind of all over the place. I'm not sure the formula that was in there, but I'll just use aid for an example. Some years they might have went up 15 cents. The next year they might have went up 27 cents. So the average aid salary step was 22 cents. So we redid all of these salary schedules to have the same jump every year. So it's not, because I noticed on one salary schedule, they got like a 1 cent increase. But it doesn't change the average. So.
No, but it affects that person. Raise it.
So everybody went up 1 to 2 salary steps. And I kind of made a cheat sheet, just to show an example. I just took year 15 as an example. So this might be different depending on what year a person is and what the old salary schedule was. So year 15, last year a teacher would have been making $53,000. If they would have moved to year 16 with no changes, they would be making $54,000. But because of the extra legislation, now they're gonna be making $63,000. So that's a 15% increase. That also affects the counselor. But because we didn't get a whole lot of funding for, non-teacher and non-administrator raises. These are the percentage increases here for these different roles, and it's between 2 and 4%, but that depends on the old salary schedule and the year that it's on. So this is just taking year 15 into account. Those percentages are pretty fluid in that range between 2 and 4%. So everybody, non-administrators are getting a 2 to 4% salary increase. I think the stipends are also in here.
The teachers should have a lot more.
Yeah.
So here's the stipend salary. In addition to regular duties. And that nurse stipend we added last year because we divided up nursing duties between Ms. Lambaron and Ms. Berry.
A little bit of a raise. Looks like too much. Motion to approve it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the salary schedules as shown here in our board packets. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. All right, next item will be, consider and take possible action on the 25-26 student code of conduct.
Student code of conduct, this is another one of those, the TASB sends us the model, and it doesn't, there's not very many edits in it, like things that are up for discussion. A lot of it's what their lawyers say you need to have, and a lot of it's plugging in names of who does what, and things like that. But a lot of it is DAEP, this is what happens, things like that. So it's their lawyers have written it for us and say, that's what you have to go off of.
And this includes the DAEP modifications that were made through our latest legislative
Yes.
change.
Yes.
That's why it took us so long to get these this
We
year.
got these like Wednesday, Thursday last week.
Right.
Like the decision in here, like for example, that stuck out to me is, you know, if you have corporal punishment or if you don't, you delete that or you keep it. And then the only decision you had was, do they have a form they fill out to revoke their right, or do they give it to you in writing? Like that was your only decision on it. Everything else is already laid out for you. So ours is, they just give it to us in writing. But I don't make them sign a sheet, I call them if we need it, so try to keep it simple for parents.
Like they took out the mandatory DAP placement for vaping.
Mm-hmm.
It is,
So-
first time offense is 10 days of ISS. So. Now, we can still send them to DAEP, but it's not a mandatory placement.
So where is that located?
DAEP, DAEP, we contract with Colorado City. There'll be a deal that y'all vote on, and it's agreement with them, costs us $5,000 to send a kid. But if I never send a kid, we don't have to pay that.
So we used our DAP last year to buy the yonder pouches for cell phones. Because we didn't have to send a kid.
I'm not motion to approve it.
I'll say.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 25-26 student code of conduct. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Alright, consider and take possible action on T-test evaluators.
So there's really nothing to look at. This just approves Mr. Merriman as the primary T-test evaluator, which is your teacher evaluation system, and myself as a secondary evaluator, should there be a question of evaluation.
I'll make a motion to T-test evaluation.
I'll second
A motion and a second to approve the T-test evaluators. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Alright, consider and take possible action on school lunch meal prices.
We, lunches, because we're in the CEP program, lunches are free, but we have to still approve the price, basically. The government hasn't put out any new rates, so we're just gonna keep everything the same. We did go up in, last year, so it should cover any. There's a whole spreadsheet and formula that they make us do. It should cover any of that overage that we would need to have. So since we don't have any rates, now if they finally get the rates out to us and something changes major, we can revisit this, but right now, there's nothing.
Like if a kid gets a lunch and they want a second lunch,
Yes, that's
Now
what
they're
that
paying
is
us.
for.
but if a kid gets a lunch and another kid didn't get their lunch, they might get their lunch.
So that's what they need to do.
I try to explain that to them the first day, and some pick up on it and some don't.
Or if you're a teacher and you want breakfast and your kid doesn't want breakfast but they'll get it for you.
I know.
Y'all know we're
Lunch is
recording,
free
right?
too.
It's not illegal.
Yeah, for all kids.
Yep.
And teachers are paying still for their lunches.
Oh, yeah.
That's
They
ridiculous.
would really frown if we let teachers, we would have to do that completely out of a different fund.
I mean, it's $3.
I'll make a motion to.
I'll second it.
Who's been made the second? Joe. So we have a motion and a second to approve the school lunch meal prices. All in favor? 7-0. All right, consider and take possible action on DAEP interlocal agreement.
So these next two are DAP and AEP. So the AEP is disciplinary, AEP is just, I mean, if you end up having to send a student for non-disciplinary reasons, maybe a kid needs acceleration or, you know, maybe they provide a service that, you know, we're not providing. So these two agreements just put us in contract with Colorado City, that they'll provide our DAP services. And we budget $5,000, but if we do not use them, then we don't pay them.
So we need to look at DAEP first, since they're listed separately.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the DAEP interlocal agreement. All in favor? 7-0. And the next will be the AEP interlocal agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the AEP interlocal agreement. All those in favor? 7-0. Consider and take possible action on 4-H extracurricular status and adjunct faculty request.
This allows us to declare 4-H as an extracurricular activity, so when students participate in 4-H, their extracurricular absences will be counted as extracurricular. But there's also 2 adjunct faculty requests in here, one for Scurry County and one for Mitchell County. And these are the faculty sponsors for this organization.
Mitchell County's not in your packet though, so we didn't get it today.
Do we have it over here to sign? Oh, okay. Mitchell County.
Yeah, but they'll show under Scurry County now,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, why are we doing it?
I think.
just in case, yes.
We have a motion and a second to, approve the 4-H extracurricular status and adjunct faculty request. Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor? 7-0. Consider and take possible action to accept property donation from Hermleigh Education Foundation.
Okay, the house, the house in question has gone from $45,000 to free. So.
Heck of a deal.
So the house itself isn't the donation that, well, we'd have to accept that donation and have to work it out with the individual who owns it. We would just pay closing costs and things like that, if we accept the house donation. But the Hermleigh Education Foundation has, approved $60,000 in, renovation for the house, which that was kind of the middle estimate, of what it would cost to get it up and running. So the school would have to accept the property donation from the individual, as well as accept the monetary donation from the foundation to go towards the house.
And we just pay school taxes,
Yes.
or the property taxes?
So I haven't spoken to the gentleman yet about the property donation. But the board would just have, I mean, if you approve the property donation, I would just have to work it out with him as well as the foundation.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I second.
So we have a motion and a second to accept the property donation from Hermleigh Education Foundation for the house and the $60,000 for renovations. Is there any further discussion?
Do we have, I'm having a hard time saying it's a donation. I don't know where you go from 45 to how here you go, there's a house.
Just give it to
It
us.
happened.
But like, I wanna know, I know I heard that. Talking about like, where's like an agreement or something that this is gonna be,
That's what we'd have to work out.
yeah. So that,
And it's a verbal agreement now.
As long as it's a donation, we'll go through it. I mean, if it,
Yeah, we already done it once.
yeah. And he could probably speak to how it got there. I don't know.
It started higher, it moved, we had made an offer, he made a counter offer, we made a counter offer. He finally said, I just want out of it. The house is currently a 501c3. It is held by, Halfway House almost, a
James
started house.
James Project.
Yeah, James Project, so it's already, the house is already in a foundation, to help
People
in need that needed it. He wants out of it. He's done a lot of work to it. And he would rather just be done and give it to the school. The house itself, CAD's for $117,000. It's probably gonna be worth $150 when the $60,000 is done. So,
He's trying to close his.
we tried to get, we really did, we said, sorry, we went to him and said, you know, we don't, it's too much money to remodel it, and he said, well, give us an offer. We gave him an offer, or we said, no, we're not gonna give you an offer because it's too much money. He said, well, here, we'll just give you the house. Well, at that point, it became in the budget of the foundation, what we had already voted on to remodel the house. But the purchase price, it just came too much. So, now we're at a house being given to the, so it costs about $60,000 to get it going. Yeah, it's really crazy.
He just went out so bad that he just said,
Well, but he would rather it stay in, it's already been doing good for the community for what he used it for. So he's not, and I don't know under his 501c3 if,
Tax write-off.
yeah, this is the easiest way, cause it's already,
So
tax
transfer.
paid on it, so it's just kinda being
It's the
transferred.
easiest transfer.
Well, if he sells it for a profit under a 501c3, then he's gotta show a profit,
Yes, he does,
so.
and pay the taxes, so this way it's just a transfer.
So we have a motion from John and a second from Blaine. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? 5-2. Consider and take possible action on board resolution extending depository contract.
So, once you go out for bids, it's good for 2 years, and then you can extend it for 3 more 2-year terms. And, we actually weren't up for our first term, or before going out for bids again 2 years ago, but we went out for bids 2 years ago, so this would be our first extension with First Bank and Trust for the depository contract.
Any issues with our current depository? Marcy?
We're still making money, I mean, it's, yeah,
Okay.
it's surprising,
I'll make the motion.
they're easy to work with.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second to extend our depository contract with First Bank and Trust. All those in favor? 7-0. Alright, consider and take possible action on budget amendments.
I made notes, so if you wanna know what
Go for it,
everything is.
Marcy, take that.
Okay. So, some of this is just cleaning up what we've approved, like the foundation, when they gift us money, we still have to expend that in our funds. So, we have to do a budget amendment to show the revenue and the expenditure from that gift, which caused the additional expenditures. Some of it is the insurance claims that causes us to have to budget for those. So the 119,000 up at the top, that revenue, 85 of that is the truck and the van, 22 of that is the supplies donations for the school supplies, and 12 of that is the donation for the floor machine. When you go down to the expenditures, this 27,000, 5,000 of that is the yonder pouches. We are taking that out of that function 93 at the bottom because we did not use our DAEP money. So we're just moving that up to go for the yonder pouches and instruction. The other 22,000 is the school supplies. Then you see the 85,000 for the truck and van down here under 34. The 12,000 is the floor machine. The 5,100 for the guardian training. We had grants that took care of some of this stuff last year, but then they're no more, or they're used up, and so now we didn't budget for it in this, but now we have to be responsible for it. So we haven't used all of our 93 money, we still have a good cushion there, and so I just took the rest of it out of that. So that's what the 5,100 is, to fix that safety. That's a new function, and so it's kinda hard to budget when you don't know what you're gonna use it for.
Make the motion first, too. One second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendments. All in favor? 7-0. Alright, on our agenda is an executive session. Gentlemen, do we have a need for this evening?
Yes, sir.
Board members, do we have a need for this evening? Okay. No action taken on the executive session.
Make motion to go home.
I'll second that.
Somebody.
All in favor? 7-0.